When your neighbor gives you 2 bunches of bananas, what do? You make banana bread. Right here on Marshall's Munchies. My kitchen. On today's episode of Marshall's Munchies, we are going to be making banana bread. Now the recipe that we're going to be using is from the Betty Crocker Cookbook. This recipe has been the only banana bread recipe that has ever been published in their cookbook since the very first issue came out. So I just want to say thank you to BettyCrocker.com for the recipe. And we are going to get going here. So something cool that we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison between a metal pan and a glass pan, and we're going to see which one makes the bread better. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set our oven for 350 degrees, and then we're going to prep our pans right here. Now here's a little trick for you with prepping your pans. Use a non-stick spray and wax paper to line your pans, so that way when it's time for the bread to come out of the pans, it's not going to stick to the pans, it's going to come right on out. So this is how you prep your pan. So our pans are prepped and ready, so let's make our banana bread. If this is your first time joining us here on Marshall's Munchies, go ahead and click the like button there. Give us a thumbs up on this video, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel and click the little bell button, so that way whenever we upload a new video, you will be notified. So do that today. Alright, one tip I want to share with you has to do with softening butter. Now let's say you're getting ready to do this and you didn't want to wait for the butter to come to room temperature. Real easy way to do that is to take a glass that's going to fit over your butter, put a little bit of water in it, put it in the microwave for about 15 minutes, put the butter on a plate, and when it comes out all nice and hot, of course pour the water out of it, but then put it over your stick of butter on the plate like this and let it rest for takes about 5 minutes, and because by the time you get everything else prepped and ready to go, your butter will be soft and ready to use. One tip for you here is move your oven rack to the low position in your oven so that the tops of your pan will be pretty much center in your oven, and so that'll help to even out the heat, and have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our softened butter into the bowl first, and then we're going to add our sugar to that. Alright, so at this point we have our bread batter all mixed up. If you wanted to just put it in your pans just like this, you can, but if you want to add nuts or chocolate chips, you can do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to divide this up. One we're going to put nuts in, the other one we're going to put chocolate chips in. So let's see how that works out. Alright, so I've got part of it in here, this in the glass pan, and we're taking a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and we're just going to add it in here to it, and we're going to give it a little stir in there just to mix it all in. You want to stir gently so you don't mess up the liner that you put in there. Alright, so we got that pretty well evenly distributed there. We're going to add just a little bit more batter to it to top it off. There we go. Now we're going to bring in our nuts, and since the rest of this batter here is going to go in our other thing, we're going to go ahead and totally put our walnuts. I'm using walnuts in this, and this is my grandmother's nut mill. You put the nuts in here, you turn the crank, and it grinds them up just right there. So we are going to put a 1/4 cup of nuts, of the ground walnuts, into, so there's the 1/4 cup. We're going to give it a stir. Then we are going to add it to our pan. Alright, so we have both our pans ready to go in the oven. We're going to do the side-by-side comparison, as we said before, with the metal pan and the glass pan. So we're going to put these in the oven. It's already been preheated at 350. They're going to cook for about an hour. We're going to check it just like we've done other things, and we'll be back when they're ready. Alright, the oven just went off. It's been an hour. So let's check with our handy dandy tester here to see if the bread is done. Alright, so we're taking our handy dandy tester here, and we are going to test the bread just like you do cakes and cupcakes and everything, to check to see if it's done, and if it comes out clean, which this one did, it's done. So we're going to switch out to a fresh one, and we're going to check our other loaf of bread. Put it in here, pull it out, and we got another clean one, which means our bread is done. So our bread is done, so we're going to take it out of our pans now so they can cool, and that's the reason that when we prepped our pans that we put the wax paper in the pans so that the bread will come out easily. So let me show you how it's done. Alright, so to remove the bread from the pans, you lay your pan over on its side. Actually, you don't do that yet. You grab your paper, make sure everything is loose in there, and for some reason this one's not. Oh, there it is. I just wasn't pulling right. So now the easy way to do this is to turn your pan, and remember they just came out of the oven, so they're hot, so be careful, and just give it a little flip like that. You want to remove the wax paper. Alright, so here we have both loaves of bread, one done in a glass pan, the other one done in a metal pan, and we're going to let those cool for a little bit, and then we'll come back and check on them and compare how they did. So, see you in a bit. Alright, so our bread is cooled and we're going to slice it up and compare it between the glass pan and the metal pan. So let's take a look. Alright, so the age-old question, which is better, glass or metal on baking banana bread, to me, looks pretty much like a draw. So either way you want to go, you're going to be okay on that. But the proof is in the tasting. So we're going to taste them and we're going to see. This is the banana bread with the chocolate chips made in the glass pan. So how does it taste? So now we're going to taste the other one to see how it is doing. This is the one that was made in the metal pan. And it's oh so yummy. So glass pan or metal pan, either way you're going to be okay. So for banana bread, that's a wrap. We'll see you next time on Marshall's Munchies.